The Daily Code Snippet. Client-side form validation is a way that the contents of a form can be examined to prevent errors from being sent to the server. Validation also prevents malicious actors from trying to take advantage of form inputs. In the past, JavaScript was required, which is beyond the scope of these videos. But with HTML5, there is now some built-in validation that does not require JavaScript. Although for more complex validation, you will still need to understand and use JavaScript to execute. Here are some examples of HTML5 built-in validation. By adding the required attribute to an input field, it means that a response is required by the user. So if the user attempts to leave the field blank, the user will receive a message to fill out this field prior to submission. Other attributes we can include are MINLENGTH, MAXLENGTH, and pattern. MINLENGTH and MAXLENGTH will limit the required minimum and maximum length of an element. If a user tries to enter an amount of characters less than the min length, they will receive an error message letting them know how many characters they must enter. The max length will limit the number of characters being entered into the field. Pattern is an attribute used to tell the browser what types of responses are appropriate. If the user's response does not match what is expected, an error will be generated. Using the password input type, we can demonstrate the use of these attributes. When using the password input type, the characters a user enters are masked. If you try to submit without entering response, the required attribute generates an error. If you enter a password without enough characters to meet the min length, you generate an error. The max length prevents entering over 12 characters. And finally, if you enter a password with numbers and letters against what is required, you will generate an error. In addition, we have already seen HTML5 validation in use through some of the newer input types we went over. For example, how an input type equals email knows that it is not correct if the user does not enter a response in the following format: name@domainname.com. Presented by Designers Learn Code.